Hi, this is Steve with Copier Products. I was just going to show you guys kind of some things that we've been having trouble with that hopefully will help to reduce some of the service calls that we've been experiencing and hopefully slow down some of the frustration. Most of it is going with these machines right here, and so I just wanted to quickly walk through a couple of things to show you that would help to avoid some of the issues. The main thing really is these trays. They're just made out of plastic. They're really not that durable, and so when there's a full ream of paper put in here, you can see right here is the max line, and if it goes over that max line, then when the tray actually tries to lift this paper up, and when it lifts up and it's above that max line, it drives it into the top of the machine, and when that happens, it drives this is the lifting mechanisms, it drives all this out. If you look carefully at it right now, you can see how this gear is bent. The frame here is bent. It's still working, but this is what's causing your machine gun noises. And you can see this one here is bent right now. And so just by keeping the paper under that line, that can create, or that can help to save a lot of that popping noises that you guys have been having. Also, when a full ream is put in here and the drawers are slammed shut real hard, it pushes this back guide, it bends this guide backwards. And once again, when you look here, you can see the gap right there between the guide and the edges of the paper. This is what's causing your image to be shifted way up or way down to where it's cutting off the tops or the bottoms of your images. There's been a lot of calls on that as well, and so I've tried to screw these down so they won't move, but they're still being slammed hard enough that it's bending that guide backwards. So that's two things right there that can really help with your popping noises and your image being offset to the top or to the bottom. So both these trays are just the same. It's happening with both of them. Also, another thing we're seeing a lot of is if it does get filled over the line, you get a jam over here, you open the tray and everything that was over that line slides off behind the drawer. It basically just comes right off the top and gets slid back into here. Back in here, now you have paper behind the tray, and some of the one of the take-up sensors has a little arm that hangs down. It's been getting broken off many times. I've had to replace those. I've actually started carrying those because it happens so often. And that's, once again, due to it being over full. So then, when that paper's behind there, then you close the tray, you just crunch the paper in behind it, and now you're completely inoperative out of that tray. And a lot of times that brings tray 2 out of the picture too, so now the machine's down. So, to make a long story short, just keep the paper below that line, it'll save you a lot of trouble. Over here in the right hand side, the other issues that we're having is, this is the fusing section here. If you catch a jam in here and you open this up, there's two little levers, pressure levers here. One's here and one's over here. I can see it. And that basically releases the pressure between these two rollers so that you can get your jam out of there. What's happening is people are ripping the paper out without moving those, and it tears it off in there. And as a matter of fact, if you look right now at this roller, you can see somebody's gotten in there with a screwdriver or something to try to get it out, and they've torn all the Teflon coating off of that upper roller right there. You can see the silver areas in it where the Teflon's gone. That is due to somebody getting a tool to try to help them get the jammed paper out of there. So actually, we'll have to come back on that Monday and we'll have to rebuild that. That Teflon's supposed to be on there, else you get all kind of copy quality problems. Also, you can see these little tiny fingers that are in here. I don't know if you can see me touching that or not, but there's little fingers in there that are designed where when the toner is fused into the page, that's what this thing's job is, to fuse it down into the page. And when it gets jammed in there, I'm sorry I lost my train of thought there, but if there's too much toner, those are designed to peel the paper away. And when they get jams in there, they tear them out of there and a bunch of those little fingers go flying off. And when that happens, you can have some of the fingers standing out, some of them are gone. Now you're continuously jamming into the fingers that are sticking out in the way. So once again, it's kind of created an issue where the machine goes completely down. And then we're driving out here, we see what's happened, especially broken parts. We don't have them with us. Now we have to drive back to Springfield again to get the broken stuff, come back out, and it creates a problem where you're down for 2 or 3 days because of all the driving back and forth for the different stuff. I carry everything that typically goes wrong, like the fingers, the rebuild kits for fusers, the stuff that typically gets broken in the tray and whatnot. But if something's broken that I don't normally have, then once again it's 2, 3 days sometimes before we can get it ordered, get back out here. So I know it's very, very frustrating when these things start to jam, but if you feel like you've checked your paper's good, you've kind of checked here and all this looks good and it's still continuing to jam, it's best just to walk away, place a service call, and have it get looked at rather than fighting it, because the longer you fight it, the more frustrating it is, and then we end up down or something like that for some other reason. So honestly, that's the whole paper path between the drawers to the exit here and out. And in that little tiny paper path, there's not a whole lot that can go wrong without it actually physically being broken. So these things are a little more sturdier. I don't tend to see as many problems with these. The only thing that we do get calls on, as you can see right here, the trash can is really, really close to these trays that move up and down. So one of the things we get called on, not just at schools, but at a lot of places, is things being under these trays. And so when it starts to drive down, bam, it crunches into those, pow, pow, codes out, and you're in a service call. So we want to keep the stuff out from under that. And really, these things are tanks. We had a little bit of issues with the hole punch when I first took this over in August. We've got that squared away. We've got the finisher stuff squared away. And I went through and rebuilt this whole machine. So I'm really happy to see this big machine in the workroom where that one was taking such a heavy burden. So this ought to help you out a lot to get through the rest of the year. But anyways, that's just a few things that I thought we could go through, and some things to watch for that hopefully can reduce the amount of downtime and the amount of service calls that we've been seeing between all these types of machines. So if it starts jamming on you, just place a service call if you've checked those basic things, and I'll be here as fast as I can. That's pretty much all I got.
We have any questions from anyone in the room about anything?
Just a few things to watch for. That'll really, really cut down the service calls a lot. So.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Anything on any model of copier that's green is designed for the customer to be able to touch it. Okay, it's for jam removal. So when you open this up, you can see all the green stuff. That is the stuff that you are designed to be able to touch, such as your toner lever to replace your toner, and then you've got your ADF latch here. Pull this out, and you can see more green stuff. So you can get them out from here. This thing is really hot, so you want to grab it from the green thing because that's the only cool part on it. And you can open this up. Once again, you have all the little fingers just like the other one, designed to pull stuff away. And then you have this guy's designed to where you can turn sheets out of there rather than pulling them out. Because pulling them out breaks the fingers off, it tears the sheets, things like that. So you can drive it out with this lever here. Then if you're duplexing, you're going to have one under here. So you can see the green lever. A lot of people miss this one and they say I've pulled all the jams out and it still says it's jammed. 90% of the time there's one in here. So that's all you're going to find there as far as the paper path going this way. And then over here you have 2 doors. So you're going to have sheets coming out of tray 1, 2, and 3. So it'll be going here, they'll be going across what I just showed you, and into the finisher. And the finisher, this is simply for staples. This isn't a jam removal cover. This is just for messing with your stapler. Your jam removal would be up here. You can see the green stuff. You got one here, you got one here, and you got one down here. Most of the time there's just one sheet in there, and you can see it and usually easily remove it. So then you got a button here. This is the only thing that's not green. that you may have a hard time seeing. So you can see the button here pulls the finisher out of the way, and you have a door here for jam removal. Once again, I'm running into this thing trying to get to that. So as long as everything's clear over here, this will actually pull out further and you can get that door open. And that's it on this ring. But it was everything I just went through right there. You can see how easily it all just kind of opens and pops back together. It's actually all very easy to get jams out of there. And if it does start jamming, there was one jam in there, and there's a tiny little piece of paper that big somewhere in there where somebody just ripped it out real quick, and a piece got torn, and now you're jamming into that piece. So a lot of times, once again, especially with this model, they kind of create their own nightmare. So, but that's it. That's all for this one too.